Hey everyone and welcome! Today we're jumping right into some nutrition rules that are actually tailored for the female body. And the best part, it's all backed by some really fascinating science.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? Following all the trendy health advice, intermittent fasting, crushing high-intensity workouts, but you're just not seeing the results you were promised. It can be so frustrating. Well, I've got some good news for you. It's probably not your fault. It's the advice. You see, for decades, most fitness and nutrition research was done almost exclusively on men, and as we're about to find out, that makes a world of difference.
Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to break down exactly why that one-size-fits-all model just doesn't work by looking at the incredibly unique ways a woman's body responds to stress, food, and exercise.
A perfect example of this is training on an empty stomach. For guys, working out fasted can be a fantastic way to torch fat. But for a lot of women, the body does the exact opposite. It panics, starts storing fat, and even breaks down your hard-earned muscle for energy.
So that leads us perfectly into our first set of rules, and it is all about timing. It turns out it's not just what you're eating, but when you eat it, especially around your workouts, that can change everything.
And to really get why, we have to talk about a hormone called cortisol. You've probably heard of it. It's your main stress hormone. It naturally shoots up in the morning to get you out of bed. But when you throw an intense workout on top of that spike without any fuel in the tank, you're basically just pouring gasoline on a hormonal fire.
And this right here just illustrates that difference so clearly. In a man's body, when it senses exercise but no food, the internal dialogue is basically, all right, no big deal, we'll just get better at using our fat stores for energy. It sees it as a challenge and adapts in a positive way.
But a woman's brain, specifically the hypothalamus, is way more sensitive to these signals. It reads that combination of exercise and no fuel as a major threat to survival. The alarm bells go off and the message is, red alert, conserve energy at all costs, store fat, and if we need fuel, start breaking down muscle.
And this is exactly why it is so critical to send your body a signal of safety. A small snack before you work out, even just 15 grams of protein, tells your brain, hey, we're safe, there's plenty of fuel. Then you have to refuel pretty quickly after you're done, within about 45 minutes to kickstart that muscle repair and recovery process.
Now, that recovery window is absolutely key. For men, that window to refuel and get the benefits can stay open for something like 18 hours. But for women, it's more like a tiny porthole that slams shut in about 45 minutes. If you miss it, your body stays in that muscle breakdown state for way longer, which is the exact opposite of what you want.
All right, so let's zoom out a bit. This whole idea of timing isn't just about your workout. It's about your entire day and learning to work with your body's natural clock, also known as your circadian rhythm.
This brings us to breakfast. Even if you're not a morning workout person, eating a meal in the morning is a super powerful tool. It helps bring that morning cortisol spike back down, which lets your body switch into its rest and repair mode. It can even help you sleep better by preventing those 3 a.m. wake-ups from a blood sugar crash.
And here's a great visual of what that rhythm could look like. You're basically aligning your eating with daylight hours. So maybe you eat your first meal at 8 a.m. and your last meal around 6 p.m. This gives your body a solid 13 to 15-hour window overnight to do all its important cleanup and repair work.
But, and this is a really big but, fasting is a tool. It is not a non-negotiable daily rule. For some women, maybe post-menopause or with certain conditions like PCOS, it can be really helpful. But for many others, long or super frequent fasts just act as another stressor on the body. The number one rule is always to listen to your body.
So, now that we've got the timing down, let's talk about the actual raw materials your body needs to not just function, but to really truly thrive. And that means we need to talk about protein and gut health.
You know that standard protein recommendation you always hear, the 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight? Well, it turns out that's basically a survival dose, just enough to prevent a deficiency. For active women who want to build muscle and have a healthy metabolism, the science is pointing to a much higher number, literally double that amount.
And check out this study. It shows the impact perfectly. Researchers took 2 groups of women and had them eat the exact same number of calories. The only thing they changed was that one group doubled their protein intake to that 1.6 gram target. The results after 12 weeks were amazing. Their muscle quality went up, while their body fat and that dangerous visceral fat around their organs went down, all just from eating enough protein.
And finally, you just can't talk about women's health without talking about the gut.
Inside your gut, there's a specific community of bacteria called the estrobolome, and its entire job is to help your body process and balance estrogen. So a happy, healthy gut is absolutely fundamental for happy, healthy hormones.
So, what's the best way to support it? It's actually pretty straightforward. You want to feed those good gut bugs lots and lots of fiber from a variety of plants. You can bring in some probiotics and fermented foods like yogurt or kimchi, and at the same time, try to cut back on the ultra-processed, low-fiber stuff that can stir up inflammation.
Okay, so the big picture here, the main takeaway from all of this, isn't that you need to follow another strict set of rules. The goal is to see these concepts as tools in your own personalized nutrition toolkit. These are principles you can use to start working with your body's unique biology instead of constantly fighting against it.
And that really brings us to our final thought. Looking at everything we've talked about, what's one small, totally doable change you could make, maybe even starting today? Perhaps it's just adding that little bit of protein before a workout, or maybe it's just committing to eating breakfast. Remember, that very first small step is often the most powerful one you can take.